So today I'm going to talk about money mindset. It's a really big topic, so today is going to be more of an introduction to it, but just to kind of get the old grey matter thinking, start identifying what your money mindset is and what your money patterns are, so that you can start to become aware, because awareness is 50% of the battle, and then you can start to move forward from there. Perhaps we'll revisit it at a later date with some more information. So anybody that's on, what does money mindset mean to you? So money mindset is your overwhelming attitude to finances, and it drives how you make financial decisions, can affect you on a day-to-day basis, and also in terms of achieving your financial goals. When you improve your money mindset, we tend to make better decisions when it comes to money. So that's the aim of today, is to give you an introduction as to how you might start to do that. We've talked a lot in other sessions about beliefs and how they can be limiting or empowering, and that applies to ourselves, other people in the world, but also money. And we tell ourselves these stories or beliefs, whatever you want to call them, about money. And if you dig deep into the subconscious of your mind, you might find some beliefs in there that you didn't realize existed. I've done this exercise myself, and what I found were the voices of my grandparents in my head. And it's from our parents that we tend to get most of our money beliefs. We tend to do the same or the opposite to what our parents do. So I thought I'd share with you some common money beliefs. So money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't make you happy. I could never be rich. Money is the root of all evil. Money is hard to come by. I never have enough money. I'm not clever enough to be rich. So they're just a few examples of some money beliefs, and you'll notice that they are all limiting beliefs. They're all negative beliefs, things that are going to hold us back in terms of our finances. So do any of those beliefs that I've just read out resonate with you? Do you have any of those beliefs? And if not, or you've got more, what are the beliefs that you have about money? Can you identify if they are limiting or empowering? So yes, do any of those resonate with you? They're all limiting beliefs. Our beliefs dictate our actions, and our actions dictate our outcomes. So our beliefs are really important when it comes to money, but also everything in general. So not only do we have beliefs, but we also have patterns. So in order to improve our money mindset, we have to identify our beliefs and our patterns. And I'm going to give you some examples, 4 examples of a poor money mindset. Now, these aren't an exhaustive list, but they're an example. So try and see if you can picture yourself in any of these. So the first one is a survivor. This is somebody that never has enough money, no matter how much work they do. You might find they're quite stressed and tired about money. And you might have witnessed your parents in survival mode when you were a child. The second one is called just enough. So you have just enough money, but not any extra. And if you do find yourself with extra money, typically something unexpected like a parking fine or a bill will come up. You'll probably be a bit less stressed than the survivor, but you might still find that you are a bit stressed. The third one is a money chaser. So you're always looking for new ways to make money. You've got loads of things that you want to spend it on. So you get the money in, but you spend it quite quickly. And you have loads of ideas of how to make money, but nothing seems to pay off. And the fourth one is a magic money mess. So this is somebody where money comes easily to them, but they have very little to show for it. They never have a budget because they always get the money that they need, and they tend to splurge their money. So do you recognize yourself in any of those 4 money mindset descriptions? I think that I probably sat in the just enough. So I have enough to pay my bills, but not a lot extra. And if I did have extra, then something would typically come up. But I'm working on this. So this is something I've identified in the past and I'm trying to move away from. So as I said, the first thing to do to improve your money mindset is to identify what your current money mindset is. What are your current patterns? What is it that you do with your money? Do you spend everything that you've got? Do you save your money? What is your current money pattern? And we tend to learn this from our parents. As I say, we tend to do the same or do the opposite. So as I say, I've done quite a bit of work around this, and I've realised that I've got kind of two conflicting patterns in my head, because I think my parents were very much in the survival mode. So money was hard to come by. It was even harder to keep. We just about got by. And then I had my grandparents, who are really quite strict with money. They don't like to talk about money. When I was a teenager, as I was leaving their house, my granddad would put a fiver in one hand and my nan would put a fiver in the other hand, both telling me not to tell the other person. There was a lot of secrecy around money. And I think I also kind of detected an undertone that they had people that didn't like them because perhaps they had a nicer car. So they were quite secretive about these things and quite shielded about them. My nan in particular is very strict about money. So I remember being a young lady in my early 20s. I had a good job, so I earned a reasonable amount of money for my age. And my nan would say things like, you shouldn't be buying that 70p magazine per week, which gave me a message of, you must work really hard, because they're also, don't sit still, you must be doing something, must work harder, must push harder. And also don't spend your money on a 70p magazine. So it's kind of gave me the message that I must work very hard and not reward myself. And often I would not reward myself. So I was all work and no play. And then other times I would kind of rebel against that. And I would go and spend money that I perhaps shouldn't have done on things that I wanted, because I wanted to reward myself. But along with that kind of came guilt, because my grandparents were a very big part of my upbringing. They were a big voice in my head. So yes, did you recognize yourself in any of those? Identify what your current money mindset is. Identify what your current spending habits are. There's also something called a financial thermostat. So this is an amount of money that you might not be aware of, but is in your subconscious, that you don't allow yourself to go above and perhaps below. So is there an amount where you kind of get in your bank account and you think, oh, that's kind of too much, I'm going to go and spend that. That gives me license to go and clear out my savings or go and spend it. And then you build back up to that level again, and then you drain it out again. So that's called the money thermostat. What can we do to create a more positive money mindset? Well, number one, I think it's about understanding your attitude to money. It doesn't have to be something that's a cause of stress. Money can actually be fun and pleasant and enjoyable. One of my other business coaches refers to money as freedom tokens. So he thinks of it less as kind of pounds and coins, but more of tokens to be able to go and live his life in the way that he wants to live it. And I think that's a really nice way to put it. The other thing is something that Joe has touched on, and that's to get to grips with where you are at the moment. Understand your financial situation. What do you owe? Who do you owe? When do you owe it? Rather than kind of doing the old ostrich and burying your head in the sand, actually sit down and get to grips with where you are at, because how can you move forward if you don't know where you're moving forward from? I realized a while back that I thought that money was bad, and if I became wealthy, that would make me a bad person, that I'd probably be quite tight and that I'd be quite selfish. But I'd been listening to a lot of different things on money mindset, and something really struck a chord with me. And that was, if I am poor, I can't help anybody. But if I am wealthy, I can help lots of people. And I'd love to go and do lots of kind of charitable work, go into schools and into colleges, because I think prevention over cure is so much easier, it's cheaper, and it's just generally all round better. So I'd love to go and do lots of kind of free work to help people to avoid low self-esteem, poor money mindsets, burnout, poor health, etc. And we can understand where we're at currently by asking ourselves some questions. So I'm going to reel off a number of questions that you might want to write down. So some of the questions we can ask ourselves include, do I associate negative things with money? And if so, what are they? What are my money habits? The next ones you need to fill in the blanks. So people who have money, ... Money is, rich people are, what I think is most important about money is, money comes to me, what I observe from my parents is, what I believe about having more money than I need, and what I believe if I don't have enough money? What does that mean to me? And we can also create positive affirmations. So if we've identified that we've got some negative beliefs about money, we can create positive affirmations to reprogram what we believe about money. So they could be things such as, I now do work I love and I'm well paid for it. I move from poverty thinking to prosperity thinking and my finances reflect this change. Or something like, I delight in the financial security that is a constant in my life. And this one I really like, which is, money is a joyous experience, because for many of us, money can feel stressful and worrying. And so if we can switch that to money is a joyous experience, then our thoughts dictate our actions and our actions dictate our outcomes. So this is why it's so important to reprogram positive thoughts into our minds. We can also stop being an ostrich. We can bury our head in the sand and hope that it will all go away, or we can take our head out of the sand and we can have a proper look at our finances and understand what the current state of play is. So we can understand what it is that we owe, who that we owe, when do we owe it, and we can get to real grips with what our financial situation is. And I think it's really important to kind of set yourself some financial goals. So if you've got debt, when are you going to clear it? How are you going to clear it? And I think it's important to motivate yourself along the way with some goals, some rewards. So set goals, and then when you hit them, reward yourself. So perhaps if you are motivated by pleasure, if you hit a certain financial goal, you can go for a massage or an afternoon tea or something else that floats your boat. If you are motivated by pain, so if you don't hit your goal, then perhaps you make a charitable donation. So reward or punish yourself, for want of a better word, along the way for achieving your financial goals. Something else we can do is create a budget. So how can we live within our means if we don't know what our means are, and if we don't keep on top of what our spending and money coming in and money going out is? So creating a budget, and there's a book that I want to recommend to you, is Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And in this book, they suggest having 5 accounts. So you split your money that's coming in into 5 different accounts, and this could be a spreadsheet, it could be envelopes, it could be actual bank accounts. But divvying up the money that's coming in, and we split it into 60% essential living, so that's your mortgage, rent, bills, etc. 10% on education, learning and training, because it's important for us to keep developing. That's what we're doing right now, we're learning and growing. 10% on long-term savings, 10% on charitable giving, and 10% on pure fun, because it's really important that we keep motivating ourselves along the way. Otherwise, why are we doing this? If we don't get some fun along the way, why on earth are we doing all of this? Something else we can do is to respect money. So think about how you talk about money. You know, do you talk about it positively or negatively? Other ways that we can respect money is that penny. Yeah, you might think it's just a penny, but a penny is still money, and all money is money. So if you see a penny on the floor, if you see a penny down your sofa, pick it up, collect it, and put it somewhere. You can also make sure that your notes are all nice and neat, that you store your money neatly, because if we respect money, then money is going to respect us. And my final tip for improving your money mindset is to get hungry. Get real hungry to understand what your mindset is, and then figure out ways to grow. So I've given you some suggestions this evening, but there'll be plenty more out there. There's loads on the internet. I pretty much every evening spend time watching YouTube. Sometimes that's money mindset, sometimes it's other things. But get hungry, get out there to learn, read books, watch YouTube videos, attend events, maybe even invest in the right people to support you on your financial journey. But there are lots of little practical things that we can do to improve our financial situation. But it all starts with understanding what your current situation is, what are your current money patterns and your current money mindset. So a few practical tips there. It's a very big topic. Tonight is just a brief introduction to it, to actually get you to understand what a money mindset is in the first place. Maybe recognize what your own money mindset is, and then perhaps go ahead and put one action into play to start moving things forward. So I can tell you some of my answers actually. I'll do that. I've got them right here. Do I associate negative things with excess money, for example? I think people will think differently about me, that maybe they won't like me. If I am wealthy, I think it will separate me from my friends and my family. I've got to admit that growing up on a council estate, that there was this kind of attitude that wealthy people were a bit pompous, a bit stuck up, and who grows up aspiring to be something that other people don't like. So I'm not saying this is my conscious view of money, but subconsciously I've definitely got some of these things in there. Money doesn't make you happy. I think it will change me for the worse, that people will be jealous of me and not like me, and therefore I might feel lonely. So why would I invite money into my life if I have these opinions about what being wealthy would do to my life? So it's really interesting exercise to ask yourself these questions and figure out what's in your subconscious. I say this all the time, but 5% of your brain is conscious, 95% of it is subconscious, and that subconscious is like a camera. Like, it remembers absolutely everything you've ever seen, smelled, touched, a face in a crowd. It remembers everything. And from the age of 0 to 7, our brain is like a sponge. We learn from absorbing. So we pick up our money patterns from our parents, and we tend to do the same or the opposite. Or if you've got conflicting influences like I did between my parents and my grandparents, you might find that you have traits of both of them, or that you do the opposite to both of them. But I don't know about you, but I certainly think that money mindset is a really interesting topic. I don't want money to be a source of stress in my life. I want it to be a source of fun and enjoyment. And so I'm going to work on my mindset. I hope that you will work on yours, and I hope that you found this useful. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed that, why not subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the notification button. That way you'll be alerted anytime I post a new video, and you won't miss my top tips on how to live a happy, healthy, stress-free life.